Good evening and welcome back to Cruising Off Duty. Well, we are back doing catamaran reviews. This time we're coming from the Annapolis Sailboat Show, and what we're looking for is a catamaran that is perfect for live-aboard purposes. And if you watched the previous episodes, you know we got a guided tour of the Balance 526, we looked at the Balance 442, and we've looked at the exquisite X5 Plus. All of them get 2 thumbs up, very well suited to live-aboards, but the price tag might be a little bit outside of what you can afford. Where you can save a few bucks is if you go with a more mass production builder. That would be the Lagoons, the Leopards, the Fountaine Pajots, and others. When you get into a more mass production boat builder, there's a little bit more economies of scale. They can keep the price a little lower. Not nearly as customizable as the boutique builders, but if your budget doesn't warrant going to a boutique builder, then maybe the mass production builders are more your thing. Also, with a mass production builder, you're going to see more of the boat you're looking for on the used market. There's just a lot more boats being sold, so therefore more opportunity for them to be on the used market, maybe at a good deal. So in this episode, we're going to start talking about the Fountaine Pajots. Starting with their smallest model, the Isla 40. It's the smallest model Fountaine Pajot has out right now, and then every episode after this will get a slightly bigger model. We're going to have a guy giving us a guided tour named James Tiernan. Super nice guy. I met him at the show. I have no connection with him. I will put his information in the video description in case you want to contact him. He's a wealth of knowledge. Let's get started on with the smallest model and let James take us through and see if this model is acceptable to be a live-aboard cruiser. Okay, we're here at the last day of the Annapolis Sailboat Show 2023. Very windy, just so you see the flag, so you're going to hear some background noise. But we're here with James Tiernan from Fountaine Pajot, and he's going to show us the 4 models they have here at the show. Just let us know, James, what are the sizes?
So good morning, guys. So at this show we have the 40, the 42, the 47, and the 51. We do have a 45, but it's over in the charter section of the show. So I think today we're just going to do these 4 models, and then you can hit me up and let me know if you want to do a virtual walkthrough on the other models that we have here.
So I'll put James's contact information in the description. If you have any questions that we glazed over and you want to know more, you can contact him. Also, if you're interested in buying, definitely give him a shout. He knows everything. We met him a couple of days ago and we had such a great time. Unfortunately, we didn't film it. So I'm back on the last day when it's a little quieter to have him give us a proper tour of each boat. So let's start with the 40, right?
Yep, it's the 40. So this is the Isla 40. It's an evolution of the Lucia 40. So I think online you'll see a lot of Lucia 40s for sale. And it's very similar, but they did change the hull and the deck design, so you'll see the differences as we walk through it. It's the smallest boat in our range, but even though it's the smallest boat in our range, you will see a lot of people actually living aboard and cruising on this boat. I've sold 4 of these boats now to full-time live-aboard cruisers. I've got one coming out of the factory spring next year, and they're actually going to tour the Med on the 40 before sailing across in the Arc.
So what would be, just properly kitted out to live aboard, what would be the price of this boat?
So you're looking close to 800,000 if you do solar and the upgraded inverters, which most of our customers are doing now. I mean, you could get it close to 7 if you didn't do the big electrical pack, but typically our cruisers now are kind of doing more and more electrical. And
if you're going to live aboard, you want to have enough battery and solar and all that stuff.
Yeah, so this one doesn't, but you'll see on a few of our other models we do a solar arch off the transom here, and we can add up to 2,000 watts of solar.
You see that one down there has a solar transom arch.
Exactly.
See that one?
So we can do that in this, and we typically do. So this boat's pretty new, so we just haven't done it yet. And this particular layout's actually a charter layout, so quite a few of our customers are doing charter as well. Typically I sell more to cruisers. I don't get too much involved with the charter, but our company itself, we've got one really good charter guy. But typically I deal more with cruisers. So you'll notice as we go below, this is the 4 cabin layout, which is awesome for charter, not so much for cruisers. It's great for a big family too.
If you're the type that want to put it in charter and then use it when you have vacation time,
exactly.
This would be the type.
So a lot of our people don't have that much time off during the year. 4 or 5 weeks is all they can get. So it's more about placing it somewhere where it's nice, the boat's taken care of, and they can offset some of their cost of ownership.
Cool. Do you want to do the outside or the inside first?
Well, let's do the outside as we're here. So as we're standing here, you'll notice how big the cockpit is. It's actually the biggest cockpit in the 40-foot range. Not only is it big, but it feels safe too. So you got the nice big settee behind you. That kind of closes it off, so when you're offshore you feel safe, and it is safe. even enough table space and dining space for 6 people. And one of the things that we do as a dealer is a lot of custom options and you know, outfitting the boat once it comes out of the factory, more personalizing it. So we can add ice makers and fridges, and it's kind of dependent on what the owner wants.
All right.
So one of the strong features of Fountaine Pajot, and you'll see it throughout the range, is the helm station. You know, it's really built for and designed for cruising and for a couple to be sailing the boat kind of offshore. So it's very connected. On the 40, we have the bulkhead steering. So the helm is on the bulkhead and everything is here. On the 42 and up, actually we separate them just so we can keep the lines separate from the helm and the throttles. But it's nice because when you're sitting here and sailing here, you can still talk to everyone in the galley, in the salon, in the aft cockpit, and also forward. So when you're offshore, you know where everybody is, and when it's late at night and you need a coffee to perk you up and keep you going, it can easily be passed up and given to you. So the helm station is probably the strongest feature of the Fountaine Pajot that I like. Of course, everything is led to the helm station. What we do is we take all the reef lines back here. We take everything back here, so you don't have to leave here when it gets a little bit hairy out there. You'll notice the decks, all the hatches are recessed, so there's no tripping hazards. It's kind of a part of the Fountaine Pajot DNA, is the safety and performance mixed with comfort. So you see handrails the whole way along. Like I said, all the lines led aft. And then this area, again, on the whole range, you'll see we take advantage of the forward cockpit, is what we call it. Great place to hang out when you're sailing.
Right.
We have an autopilot remote, so when you set the sails and you're on a long passage, you can just chill out up here and take it easy. As you're showing the mast and the boom, another thing is keeping the boom at a level that you can really easily handle. The mainsail is important for us. So it's typically at waist height or shoulder height in all of our boats. It's because we know that at some stage you're going to have to get up there and handle it. Something that's nice on the 40, even though it's the smallest boat in the range, we still know how important storage is. So on the boat Four Peaks, we've got 2 big storage lockers. So this is for fenders, for downwind sails, fold up electrical bikes, whatever you need.
Yeah. Can never have enough storage.
Another thing we do, as I see it here, is we upgrade the anchor package to Mantis or Rockna typically, depending on what the customer really wants. We really like the Mantis anchors.
That's what I have on my boat.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they're a Texas company, so he lives 3 blocks away from me. So it's nice to
I love the Mantis.
to support the guys, but they do a great job. And they just launched a dinghy range this
Yeah, I saw that, the
week,
hard dinghy. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's worth checking out. But you'll notice again, handrails the whole way down, wider decks, recessed hatches.
Yes, no trip hazard.
Again, kind of safety, you know.
Well, here's the solar. How much solar does this boat have?
So this boat has kind of the limited solar package. So we've got 3 150 watt panels.
Okay. But there's definitely room for more if you wanted to.
Much more. You can add 2,000 watts to the 40 if you really like.
Yes.
The best way to do it is a stainless steel arch off the back. Right. We can do integrated solar, but it's not as efficient as the arch because there's a lot of shade and different things. So as we're walking by, why don't I show you the engine room so you can see how big it is. Again, we assume these boats are going to be all owner operated, so it's important to give everyone enough room below so they can service their motors themselves.
What size do you come standard with?
So there's 2 different options. So you have the 20 horsepower, the 30 horsepower. Most do the bigger motor. It's better to be have it and looking at it than not have it and looking for it.
Especially since a lot of catamaran owners only run one engine at a time. So.
Exactly. So also in the engine room we do the generator. The nice thing about the engine, and we hear from time to time that sail shaft over sail drive. So we go with sail drive in all our line. And there's a really good reason for that. We like to keep the motors separate in the interior.
Right.
So not only is it a safety thing, so God forbid you ever have water intrusion, it's just in the engine room. But also over time, I'm sure you know by looking at the older sailboats, you keep the smell out of the interior and the noise. So we really focus on sail drives, and that's all we do at this stage is sail drives. We're moving away from shaft-driven motors because it keeps the engine aft in its own separate compartment.
Okay.
There's pros and cons, but we really feel the pros outweigh the cons.
Okay.
So we just looked at the engine room, and I think it was worth pointing out that we keep a lot of the mechanical stuff back here, so keeping the noise and the smells and everything back in the engine room. It's a watertight bulkhead that separates it from the interior. Also what we do is we keep our lithium batteries in this area and behind me here in the settee, and upgraded inverters too. The hurdle here is keeping the heat down, so the inverters create quite a bit of heat, so we upgrade the cooling systems too. So we add some fans that are automatic and also Bluetooth connected to your phone. So there's a lot of cool things we're doing with the electrical. The factories are trying to keep up, and you'll see a lot of that in the future. I think later on today we'll talk about that maybe on the 51. But on the 40 right now there is no electric option, but it's more like a hybrid where we can do big battery banks and solar and enough electrical to power the whole boat other than the motors.
Right.
So we talked about the cockpit already, so do you want to, let's take a look inside. So again, this is the 40, so it's the smallest boat in the range, but it's still, we still have customers that are living aboard and cruising. It's great for a couple or a small family. We have an L-shaped galley, a U-shaped settee. The table in the salon is an option, and there's different options you can get. This is the standard coffee table option with storage. I think the most popular option is the dinette that goes up and down and can convert this whole area into a berth.
Yeah.
Which is cool when you're sailing offshore and you know there's two people on board and you want to sleep closer to the helm and have easy access to the helm.
Right, like you mentioned, this has sort of been set up for a charter boat.
This is
if this was a more owner's version, they would want that upgrade, so they could dine inside if it was really inclement outside.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing you'll notice is we have, and you'll see kind of industry-wide, we're getting rid of the chart tables. We noticed over the years they're not really used. They were too small for a chart anyway, so it was more of a drink a cup of coffee in the morning on your laptop station than it was anything else. And we're always searching for more storage. So we got rid of the chart table. We, over on the starboard side, we have a kind of dedicated area for a chart plotter and some navigation equipment, which is very connected to the helm. So when you're offshore, again, it's very easy to get from one place to the other. What you'll notice on Fountaine Pajot is their design focus is really on live-aboard cruising. So you'll see extra cold storage, extra fuel capacity. We're pulling back from water capacity because most of our boats are coming with water makers now, so we'd rather give it to fuel capacity because we can't create fuel, we can't create water. The galley, you've got a ton of options right now. This boat's propane, but you can do induction, you can do electric or propane.
So you should, in my opinion, get rid of the propane and do it all electric.
Yeah,
you can even do an electric barbecue, right? So
exactly, and most cruisers are going that direction. I think you'll see in the next year or two it really shifts in that direction. But right now we're still in like limbo land where people are still a little bit uncertain with full electric. So another thing is the double sinks.
There's Janice, she's going to join us.
Hey Janice, come on in.
No, you come on in and we'll listen to what you're saying too.
So the galley, we have a double sink, we have fresh and salt water, so you rinse your dishes with the salt water and then you clean them with the fresh water. So, you know, always trying to preserve as much water as you can. And a lot of storage, and it's hidden storage. When you get on at first, maybe you notice there's not a lot of storage, but we got storage all under the floors here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't even know?
You don't even know. So in the past, we used to have little holes to pull it up, or little stainless steel fittings to...
People would trip on them.
They trip on them, they break. So now what we do is suction cups.
Oh, that's smart.
In every area, we'll have a suction cup.
You can see there's a door right here if you really look close, but you can't see it if you aren't pointing at it, right? So.
Exactly. And it's a lot of storage, and also under the settee, we have a lot of storage. You do have the ability to do, like on the, if anyone knows what the ML is, the ML sailboat, you can do a fridge or a freezer here if you do need extra cold storage, or an ice maker.
Little storage cubby holes all over the place.
So again, the design focus is for living aboard, you know, so as much cold storage as possible, as much storage. The plan is to be on the boat for months and not just days. And you'll see people out there cruising that are doing it, even on the 40. So each hull is going to be mirrored on this boat. You got a cabin aft and a cabin forward. The head layout is an option. You can do 2 heads or 1 head. The nice thing if you do the 1 head is you'd actually get a separate head and shower and not a wet head. So most often we'll
look at just one then.
just one.
Yeah, because they're mirror image on this boat. So.
Yeah.
So
no one really likes the wet head scenario. So on this one
I would opt for one bathroom on each side.
so a head forward and a shower aft.
Right.
And it's pretty spacious for a 40.
Oh, it is. It's quite nice.
We don't have the owner's version 40 here this week, but that's quite impressive. So on the owner's version 40, you actually have 2 separate rooms. You have a head in one room and a shower in the other, which is really nice. And typically, myself and my wife will charter a 40, just the 2 of us, maybe with one or a couple, and it's an awesome boat.
Cool. Your switches are right here.
Yeah, so that's your breaker panel. So you got your 12 volts here, with your generator controls and your water maker controls if you have one.
This is the 4-peak gas cabin. And then again, it's mirrored on both sides.
It's mirrored on both sides. And one thing, that like the galley, one thing you might not notice while just having a quick visit is the amount of storage that's here. Yeah. Once you start pulling all the lockers open, and it's quite impressive. But again, we're
for a 40. Yeah.
For a 40, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that was the tour of the 40. Thanks, James. That was an amazing tour, and I'm quite surprised with how much livable space there is on just a 40. You know what I mean? You think 40, well, is that a live aboard? You could easily live aboard if you did the owner's version on this, with the whole side being just for the owners. It would definitely be enough space.
Exactly, and it's tried and tested. I do have a lot of customers that have bought 40s to live aboard that are cruising, and it's our entry-level boat. But again, the folks at Fountaine Pajot is livable space, and their main customer is live aboard. So you'll see that as you walk through.
One thing I'm going to mention, because I know it's a thing, you can opt for a hard bimini over your.
You can opt, and you'll see it on the 47 today. We have a hard top.
Not a standard thing, but that's something, because if you don't want to put up with aging, fading, cracking.
And that's the discussion we have with our customers. How long do you plan to own the boat? If it's more than 2 or 3 years, we do recommend the hard top, because after 2 or 3 years in the sun, the canvas starts to fade in age, and you're going to replace it, pretty quick. So
what's the holding weight capacity of the davits? Do you know?
On the 40, I do know you can. Well, I can tell you in terms of dinghy size, the height field 310 fits perfectly.
Oh, it does. Okay, so that's a 10 foot.
Yeah,
10.5, I think. Foot.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
That's perfect. I just want to know that you're not stuck to an 8 foot or nothing. You know what I mean? So 10 foot's pretty standard.
We're more restricted by the size and the length than we are the weight.
Okay, perfect.
And you'll see that throughout the range. It's more about the length of the dinghy than it is the weight.
Perfect. Well, thanks, James. We're going to go on the next episode to see the 42.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
All right. So there you go. There's the Fountaine Pajot 40 foot. And it's the smallest one in the range, as we mentioned a few times. But I could definitely see living on this, especially if you're on a lower budget and you're not planning to do massive ocean crossings. A 40 would be great for cruising around in the Caribbean, going up and down the east coast of the United States, or whatever area of the world you're in. If you're planning to stay relatively coastal, this definitely has the room for a cruising couple to live quite comfortably. So there you go. Now, the next episode, we're going to go a little bigger. We're going to go to the 42. The episode after that's the 47, and then the episode after that's the 51. It's amazing how just a few more feet in length also means a foot or two more in width, and the interior volume just gets to be that much bigger. As you can see from some of the video I'm showing you here, when you get up into the 47 and the 51, there's front cockpits, there's seating up on the top there for you. There's a lot more outdoor living space, of course indoor living space as well. So if you want to cross oceans and have a lot more room for storing a lot more of your personal belongings, then probably the bigger boats are more for you. But this 40 that I just did was definitely quite impressive with how much interior volume you got on a small catamaran. So if you enjoyed this episode, show the channel some love by giving it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Also comment below if you own one of these boats and can tell me what your experience is like owning a Fountaine Pajot 40, 42, 47, 51, I'm interested because, like I said, I didn't get a chance at this show to do any test sales, but I hear from talking to people on the docks that own Fountaine Pajots that they're quite impressed with the performance, especially the new 51. It seems like they've really streamlined those hulls and made sure that they are high performance hulls. So Fountaine Pajot is not trying to cater to the charter industry where the boats mostly stay at anchor. They're trying to do liveaboards, so cruising performance is important. So keep that in mind. Anyways, hopefully you found this informative. Until next time, this is Craig signing off, wishing you safe cruising.